Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Allow us to thank Asma and Aida again for helping in this interview. So, just to restate our purpose here, we are from the class of LG243 1C, and the instruction of the assignment is that we need to identify two Malaysians who have been staying abroad. And the aim of this online interview is to identify 4 to 5 major conflicts faced by the respondents in the daily communication and ways to overcome the problem. So the conflicts that you guys need to share with us might might involve cultural issues, communication, workplace languages, or anything at all. And then after you share those conflicts, you can share with us the solution. What did you guys did? What did you guys do to overcome the problem, and if it was successful or not? So all in all, this interview is not going to take more than an hour. So to begin this interview, let's properly introduce ourselves. Let's start with our team first. Hello, my name is Muhammad Muzammil Putra bin Rosdi. You can call me Mus. Okay, next member, please.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Nilam Sufia binti Abdullah, and you can call me Nilam. Okay.
Hi, my name is Nidhi Sulekam bin Azri, and I'm also from LG2431C.
Me next, okay? My name is Zawana binti Zakaria, and you guys can call me Iwana.
Hello, and the last one is my name is Muhammad Shafiq bin Sazali, and I'm also from the same course, and you can call me Shafiq or anything that you like. And yeah, looking forward for this interview. Back to you, Mus.
Okay, that is us, 5 of us. So for the first question, we would like to ask you guys about your backgrounds. Okay, what your names are, and we all know that you guys from Turkey, right? So how about you share your backgrounds about that? So please.
Okay, let me start first one. Thank you, Muslam, Nili, Wana, and Shafiq for inviting me today. I am Aida Yusni. So I basically went to Istanbul, Turkey for a student exchange program for about 6 months. That is equivalent to 1 semester. And I, together with Asma, actually, we went to Fatih Sultan Muhammad University. And yeah, we get to live there for about 6 months, and so we get to experience many things, cultural wise as well. That's all I think. Unless you want anything, any other details specifically from me? Moves? No? Okay, good. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Asma?
how about you?
Okay, all right. My name is Asma, and I'm also from the same faculty with Aida apparently. And we went to Turkey for an exchange program. It was about like last year probably. It's about like 2 years already. Yeah, okay, it's been 2 years, so time flies really. And I think that's it. Yeah, I've been with Aida in the exchange program throughout. Yeah.
Okay, so what faculty were you in? What were your course? What is your course? Yes.
Our course is apparently we're actually on a very last final semester of law school in UIA.
We're taking LLB.
You guys, law like undang-undang.
Ya, betul. Mengajar undang-undang.
Oh.
Farna didn't tell you?
Oh, Farah tak bagi tahu. But for some reason, I assume that you guys are in language related program. So
Interesting.
It's kind of close because everything is under that banner of social
Yeah.
sciences anyway.
I was
oh,
an English student though, but then I changed my course to law.
so for that exchange program, is it on your diploma or is it on your degree?
For our degree.
Oh, okay. So basically, either diploma English.
No. For UIE, we don't have diploma. We went to foundation instead.
Oh, okay, okay.
UIE, yeah.
Paham, paham. So all of that exchanging period, all of that happens on you guys'
Yeah,
bachelor.
yeah, it was during our second year of our study, third year of our
No,
study,
third year. Third year first
third
time.
year first semester.
Yeah.
Okay, paham, paham. Anybody else want to add a question or?
So, do you guys have any question about the background of Asma and Aida? Or can we just proceed with the conflict first?
I think for me, I think I can proceed with the questions.
Okay. Okay, as we established before, we are here to interview you guys about the conflicts, while the conflicts that you guys faced while studying in Turkey, right? So, who would like to share with us about the first conflicts that you guys faced and the solutions that you guys take to overcome those problems? So, who would like to start first?
I think I'll start first. On the conflict itself, I think because Turkey is not a is not an English speaking country, so definitely the language barrier. We had we had quite a hard time um to learn the language per se, I guess. Because it's a language that is, well, I would say first, it's not a language that's famous, right? You don't you don't often hear people say that they learn Turkce or like Turkish language as one of their side language. It's always like French or Mandarin. Yeah, like Turkce is not really that famous language in Malaysia, I think. And second, because for me myself personally, it was quite like a spontaneous decision. I would say, like I didn't plan to go to this exchange program, unlike other people who like have this like clear path of joining exchange student program, or like like intending to go abroad for like a semester, for a summer course or anything. Yeah, I've never had that in mind. So I was really like not prepared for the language barrier. But alhamdulillah, our university in Turkey actually prepared like one course, yeah, of language for us to study, and then like, I think from there we actually had a quite a busy time in, yeah, I mean to communicate dengan orang pasar, yeah, kan, nak beli ikan semua tu, and just like a simple, yeah, simple say conversation. I think we managed to polish that in our language classes back in Sultan Muhammad in our Istanbul University. How about
So,
you,
for the
Asma? Oh, sorry.
okay, so for the first conflict, it's about language barrier, right?
Yeah, language barrier.
So, do you have any story or any experience that you would like to share with us?
There's a
I
lot. Gosh. Asma, you should share your story as well. Asma
yeah,
has
I think I can add on to that, to Ida's point on language, because it's very important going into another foreign country, but without having any background knowledge on that language, right? And you gotta like converse straight away, right after you landed. But also at the same time, you can't really speak in that language. So it's kind of like a hindrance, also because I'm flying on a different date with like the main group. So the main group fly first. There's like three groups. So there's like the main group, and then me in the middle, and then the following group. So I'm flying alone. I'm flying alone to Turkey, and apparently I need to contact with that person that university has already assigned us with. But apparently that person didn't pick up. Obviously, also because I don't have like phone number at that point of time. So it was very, foreign, in a foreign land, and people don't speak English even at the airport. even at the airport, you already struggle to communicate. So at that point of time, I was like, oh yeah, you just got to install Google Translate right before you went into a different country. Google Translate really helps you a lot. So I think for me personally, I've accounted with a lot of time and incidents that makes me that pushes me to learn the language, because yeah, I just need to communicate regardless, because people won't just simply, oh, oh, you're an English speaker, hence I need to accommodate you as an English speaker. No, they don't do that. They like, oh, you speak in my language because you come here.
Yeah, no, especially because Turkey itself is a place where I think they're very nationalist people. They really don't like bow down to like English, like they don't think English is a superior language at all. Like, no, you're in my land, you're in my country. You better make sure that you know to speak my language. Like, even like a simple like I remember I went into the cab and I said that I went to go to this hotel, right? But then in Turkey, hotel is pronounced as hotel, hotel, hotel. And I was just like blah blah hotel. And then he was like, huh? Hotel? Like he can't pick that up. I was like, it sounds so similar, like hotel and hotel. Like what's the comparison? But then I mean like from that like smallest interaction I realized like they really like they just like really like I guess like really truly appreciate their own language, that they're not like mindful of other language, like they don't care about, especially about English, they just don't care. Yeah.
So do you guys have any question? Shafiq, Wana, Nelly, Nilam?
For now, I think I'm all clear.
Okay, Nilam has a question.
Yeah, I have a question. So, like, for our attitudes and expectations and behaviors are generally influenced by and result from our cultural value patterns. For like as Malaysians, we adapt those things in Malaysia. So these different value patterns can be the first thing that can cause like some misunderstandings between people from different cultural background. So my question is, if you have ever encountered with this type of situation, how do you resolve the problem?
Ida is taking like necessary pauses in between.
No, like, I'm sorry, that's such an interesting question, but like can you give me like an example of like what you were saying? I think I got it, but like can you like maybe give me like an example of situation like here in Malaysia?
So for different value patterns, for like, for instance,
I think I can attempt though.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
is it like adding lah at the end of the sentence for Malaysian? So like that kind of like
yeah,
because
yeah. Anything that is
The-
different from us Malaysians to the Turkey people. Like, do you have any like some sort of misunderstandings happen
There are
between them?
tons of it.
And how do you encounter that?
yes,
How do
why
you,
don't you go first?
Yeah, I do personally agree with the statement that you posted now. Like we actually reverberate every behavioral pattern that we grown or we are actually being bring up on, like our bring up, right? But also at the same time, I know that how different Malaysians as an Asian in general with Turkish who has more of like European kind of mindset.
Yeah.
So in that sense, personally, I do think that Asian are sometimes kind of like how do I say, like we have this much of like uh a bit a bit timid, and a bit wary about our situation. But also but also when you go into like you go into that like Turkey, right? So they really have different values from us, and that somehow becomes like the clashing factors. Yeah. There are many that, but I couldn't really point out specifically at this point of time. Probably Ida can elaborate more.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you said that, like the comparison between us and them because of our macam ethnicity, I guess. Like we're Asian and they're more of like European. But if you know, is no Turkey itself has like a yeah. Asma, are you saying something? Because you muted yourself.
The two continent stuff, right?
Yeah, right. Yes, Asia. They have like Asia continent and European continent. So they're actually divided in that way. But most of them, if I were to converse with my Turkish friends, they wouldn't identify themselves as Asian. In fact, I remember there's one particular conversation. They actually like loathe to be labeled as an Asian. They refuse that. They reject that notion. They don't want to be recognized as Asian. So I guess especially because as you know that their religious practice by law is a liberal kind of thing, right? Yeah, it means they separate their religion, religious practice from their like daily life. Like they just like they don't show it to others. So in that sense, so maybe they, I think for especially for the generation, for the current generation, they more comfortable to liken themselves to European side more than the Asian side. Like Asma was saying. Mm. Yeah, I think that's it. I think Shafiq has a question.
Oh yeah. So basically, my question is, so do you guys have any problem when you guys went to Istanbul, and when it compared it to Malaysia? Malaysia is more like a family oriented culture where we really values that relationship within our relative. We just just take as an example for Farhana and me. In fact, that we are cousin, we're not like really that close, but cousin. We took that title, and we helped each other out. So do you have any experience on how is it to compare it to Istanbul? Is it different, or is it just like the same as Malaysia? Or can you please help me understand that?
Yeah. So I think we have this experience because Asma and I, we actually lived in the same house back in Turkey. And our front neighbor is actually very warm. She's a very warm person, and she actually invited us and our other four roommates. Yeah, five housemates, and yeah. Oh, so sorry. We're six people living together. So basically, she invited all of us to have a breakfast. Yeah, together with her family, and like we know because we struggle to speak Turkish, right? And this is that at the first month, like 2 weeks in or like
Yeah, 2 weeks in, I
two
think so.
weeks in, right? Yeah,
Ooh,
like so we're fresh off the boat. our our Turkish at the time is very limited. It's like to higher, which is no, or God, I even forgot what is yes in Turkey as well.
evet.
Evet, yes. So like we were conversing with the wife, Anne Zainab, which couldn't speak Turkish at all, but the husband can. But being an elderly, like, even his English skill was a bit like like we can't speak really fast. We have to accommodate to that. But they're just so warm, and they prepared us this spread of breakfast. And like remember when I told you that I call her Anne Zainab? Anne is actually means mom. So she told us to call her mom, and like to call her husband dad, which is Baba. And yeah, I feel like um to answer your question, the family values in Turkey also it's very strong actually. I think they're like, I guess even like in Malaysia, like you can see some people are family oriented, some people are not. So I think that
Yeah.
applies
Depends
to
on the individual.
exactly, yeah, that applies to Turkey as well. But like if you ask me like whether they actually value the family, yeah, like like the family or relative or relationship whatnot? I would say yes, most of them do. What about you?
True.
Do you remember this kind of?
Yeah, if I'm gonna reapproach the question a little bit, like it's not particularly family oriented. Turkey is much more. They have this sense of community in sense like communitarian value. So oftentimes you can see people hanging around the street. Even the oldies, they are in this one particular shop where they're doing the cards. They're playing cards.
They're like playing mahjong,
Yeah,
right?
they're playing
Yeah.
mahjong and they're playing cards, and they casually greet everyone. Like even an uncle that you know from side cart who sell you like fruits will always in the morning say hi to you. Hey, Ogul ma means like, are you going to class? Yeah, yeah. Even like a simple sentence, a simple greetings, they're they're very nice in that sense. Yeah. Um, I do think that they really have a very high communitarian value, pretty similar to our culture. But I could say that we are eroding in that manner in a sense that our younger generations have no longer like saying hi to people as simply as saying hi to just stranger. Then people will simply say, oh, what are you saying? You sound suspicious.
Yeah, like
But
why are you talking to me?
why why are you talking to a stranger? Yeah, things like that. As in, like, I think the younger generation is becoming more individualistic and losing that sense of community. So I do think that yeah, it might apply to Turkey as well. But as for the general overview, I do think that they have a higher communitarian values compared to us. Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Asma and
basically,
Aida.
okay. So basically, the value between Malaysia and Turkey it's slightly different.
Um, if you want to say like humanity side or the aspect of human, I don't think we have much of a difference.
Can I just add like something? Because I think like this is particularly related to language as well. And this is something that we always talk about. How in Turkey they have these like simple greetings. I think like you can similarize this to Korean. Like if we see someone doing like some work, like just a janitor sweeping, or yeah, just someone doing something, we can just pass by them and say "Kolej Galsen." Kolej Galsen, yeah, Kolej Galsen means like have a nice day, or like what is it as well, like particularly that you remember the direct translation?
You something.
No, Kolej
Hi,
Galsen
yeah,
is like
something.
thank you for your hard work or something, right? Like appreciating them for the work that they do. Do you remember? No.
It's like bearable.
So you only use it without knowing the true meaning lah. Okay. But yeah, I remember I asked my friend, and because like he explained it in a way that if you want to talk to people, like to start a conversation, then you say marhaba, because because this friend was actually like weirded out, like why you say marhaba to like that strange. I was actually like hi, like like trying to be friendly because that person is in my way. But then I do notice that when I say marhaba to like some people that is in my way, then they will actually like stop. Good job tau. And like they were like expecting me to continue like the chat. I was like, I just wanted to say hi. So he actually said, no, like if you want to start a conversation, then you say marhaba. You say hi. Hello. But if you want to just like like thanking the person, yeah, like or morning, yeah, morning, you can just say like good night and good night is good. Good morning.
Good
Sorry.
night. Anu.
Good night, yeah. Good night, or like Kolai Galsen. But particularly, I remember this Kolai Galsen phrase because it's just so, for me, just so heartwarming because I remember when we went to the bus station, there would always be this one lady sweeping the stairs. And so, like, often, like, not, after I know, like, Kolai Galsen phrase, right? I would say to her, and she would look up and, like, smiling, like, so, like, warm. And I'm like, I guess I make her day, like, because I feel like, oh, my present is like recognized, and so like the work that I'm doing is like appreciated in that sense. So I don't think Malaysia have that particular kind of phrase in, yeah, right. I keep on like thinking, yeah, and like, I think like this is a discussion that I have like with my one of my like friends that went to Turkey as well. And so we agree that, I guess, like by kind of like lacking this kind of phrases, it doesn't really, yeah, like it doesn't really show like how communitarian people that we are. Like, even though foreigners always say that Malays are friendly, and warm, and like, but like I guess like among us, in terms of like the inner circle like of Malays, we don't do that to each other, which is kind of sad. I feel, yeah.
Wow. Uh, all of that thing that you guys have said, I can relate it to Malaysia, which some of the points, which is really really sad that it is in fact true. Uh, but yeah, it's really it's really I'm the type of guy that really get excited over a little thing. So even though that I know that even that I learn about a little phrase about that, I get overly excited that I just gonna use it from now on. But can you just repeat that? What is that again?
Phrase? Oh,
Yeah, the phrase
Kolai Galsen.
Kola Galson.
Kolai Galsen. Yeah.
Kola Galson.
Kolay G A is the like E in Turkish, where they use E with like double dots. LS A, right? I without the dot, and Kolai Galsen.
Kola Galson.
Yeah.
Did I get it right? Kola Galson.
Perfect.
Okay, nice. Okay, I think I've cleared up some of my question. Anybody else? I got a question. I do have this one thing that I want to be clarified of about time, because I'm the type of guy that really, really, I don't value my time that much, because I'm kind of like go with the flow. So, uh, do the Turkish people is different from how I feel about time? Because some of the people, maybe Asia, maybe Chinese, they really respect the punctuality. But for me, I think punctuality is more like a rules that you need to be obligate. So can you clarify that about Turkish people, the concept of time for Turkish people?
What do you think, Asma?
I guess they're say that Turkish time is a bit late than the world clock. Yeah, I couldn't exactly remember the phrase, but there's this one lecturer who's always say, "Oh, I don't want to enter the class late," but oftentimes he will always casually enter with chai, as in like with tea on his hand. Like they they're they're that cool, they're that chill. They don't hustle, they don't thrive in that sense with time. They're a bit, you know, they're not as Japanese, but they're not as Malay, I could say. Yeah. It's in between.
But I think they're actually like more influenced. Especially the lecturers, they're more influenced by the German side, because I mean that makes sense. It's Turkey is near to German, so in Germany, people are actually very strict on time, right? Asma, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, right. So I, although yes, when Asman said that the lecturer is actually like are like bunch of chill people, they actually literally just waltz into class with a cup of tea on your hand and like sipping it before like start to discuss. Oh, good morning. Okay, we're just gonna continue. I'm like, oh, like this kind of style I've never seen in Malaysia. In Malaysia, I feel like oh, I'm not sure. Like, have you guys experienced physical classes before?
Yes. No.
Not yet. Oh God, my heart goes out to you. I hope you guys gonna experience it soon. Honestly, it's, I feel like it's the kind of experience that you should definitely have like once, like at least once. One apa. Well, anyway, so I guess in my memory, our Malaysian lecturer has always been like kind of like, yeah, like rush and puff, like this. Especially in UIE, we have this system where like we
15 minutes late, then you close the door.
true. and like students will be counting down, like, oh my god, like okay, 50 minutes late, lecturer didn't show up, okay, we can just leave. But in Turkey it's not that, they don't really have that. I remember, yeah, they don't really have that kind of concept. So I guess we just like wait around, like just hang out in class while waiting for the lecturer, because I guess like Asma said, Turkish clock is later than the world clock. Hmm. But when it comes to respecting people's time, like maybe like a break or something, I remember they are very actually respectful about that. In the sense of like academics, in class apa situation. So we have like 2 hours class, but they will always make sure that we got like a 15 minutes break in between, 10 to 15 minutes break. Yeah, and actually like even like without us reminding, actually would be like, okay, so I think like my time, like it's already time for me to take a break. Like he prioritized himself. Yeah, it's not like oh, you guys dah penat ke, like in Malaysia class, oh, you guys nak break ke, but the teacher like on fire wants to continue kan. Tak, dia actually kat sana yang I think it's time for me to take a break. I'm gonna drink some chai first and then I'll continue. So that's interesting.
Oh yeah, that's really interesting about that because rarely lah tengok dekat Malaysia untuk tengah-tengah mengajar, kita take a break, I nak pergi minum air sat, tak ada lah kan. So I think that definitely interesting. Do I have any more question?
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
So, still talking about the time management by the Turkey people. Do we refer to them as Turks or Turkish?
No, it's better for you not to refer them as Turks because to some it might be like there's a gray area. No, there's just a gray area about it. So we're oftentimes just address them as Turkish people, like Turkche. How do you address them? Like we don't.
Turkish is fine. Turk can sound impolite to some.
Okay.
Yeah, Turkish is safer.
Okay, so we're still talking about the Turkish people and their time management, right? So do you have any experience that get you guys into a conflict? Is there any experience? Because the focus of this interview is what? Conflict. So is there any problem with adapting with the Turkish people's time management? Is there any?
I think I would have to answer that first. So I remember there was this one farewell dinner. Because so in this situation I am at fault. But here's my defense. So basically, we live in a place that is far away from the city, but that's just how it is. So like if you have plans for studying abroad later on, make sure that you check if you think you got a good deal on a house, you have to make sure whether the distance is actually worth it. Because if the distance is not worth it, then everything like you're gonna suffer. You're gonna suffer on the time itself. Like the class starts at like 9, but you have to make sure that you are ready by 7, because the commute will take about an hour for you to reach the class. So like it's the worst. The distance is the worst, and that's how it was back then for our house. So we live like an hour away from the city. But Alhamdulillah, in Turkey, the public transportations are really good. It's actually really good. So we can like ride everywhere by bus, and the bus interval time is actually like just 5 minutes. Like it's not even 5 minutes, like 2 to 5 minutes. Like there are always bus available. And this is like basically like the only thing that kind of like calm us lah, because the public transportation situation is sorted. But it doesn't change the fact that the distance is just so far still. So there was this one farewell dinner where we were actually late by, I would say, we were actually late about like half an hour plus, and like because we had to like change the bus and the train, and like I guess we really like chose the wrong time to be late, because apparently the restaurant that they booked had like such a like a packed yeah, like that type booking lah, like like it's just a rush hour kind of restaurant. So when we arrived there, we can't even like get into the restaurant. And so yeah, because our seats has been taken away, like the vacant seats can, like they just like took it away because we were late. I remember like there was this one Turkish friend and also a European friend coming up to me and said, "So what time did you think the dinner was at again?" I was like, "Oh God!" So I'm sorry, I'm late. Yeah, I just want to ask you, what time do you think we should be here? Like that was the worst. Like even the Turkish friend was like, "Where are you traveling from?" Oh, and I was like, "Yeah, but like we live far away from the city, blah blah." And then he was like, "Yeah, so you should know better to like come earlier, right?" I was like, "Oh damn!" Probably because it's a farewell dinner. Everyone knows each other very well already, so they're all all sassed up with me. But like that was just like an unpleasant feeling. So I guess when it comes to like a gathering or whatnot, they actually like value their time, I guess. So the solution that I that I thought at that time, but it was a farewell dinner, like most of the people I couldn't see afterwards anyway. They all like go back to the country. But if I could have a solution at that time, then I would definitely take up their advice lah to just prepare my itinerary plan better, because definitely like the distance is not an it's not a reason, it's not a good reason there, because basically I would say actually everyone is traveling far. Because like like divided into two continents, but because of like thankfully the public transportation are really good. They have, I don't know if you study about that.
It's a 24 hours kind of transportation. There's no
Yes.
rest. Yeah.
And like their public transportations is not just limited to buses, Rasma. What do we have there, Rasma, again? If you could list it out.
Yeah, it's tramway, something similar to um,
Subway.
subway, MRT, like that. Yeah, there are like three kinds or four kinds of
No, you forgot
transportation.
the best part, which is the
Oh,
ferry.
Metrobus. Oh, the
No,
ferry.
the
Yeah, the
ferry. Yeah,
ferry.
the
The ferry.
ferry is also a public transportation to them. Yeah, like so like people from Asia to travel to Europe, they can simply choose whether to ride ferry or to ride the subway. That's so yeah, that's such a fascinating thing about Turkey. So you see like what I meant, the distance shouldn't have been a valid reason. So that's why they were quite a bit mad with me lah. Because yeah, that happened.
Okay, so do you guys have any questions?
So Laili or Wana, do you have? Okay. Go on. Laili.
My question is something related to feelings when you having a conflict with Turkish people. Like, for example, how do you deal with conflict about when it comes to your feeling lah kan? Macam contoh, tak kisahlah between conversation between friends lah atau um, when you discussing about certain things with your group mates ke, how do Turkish people tend to show their emotion when they are in a conflict? Are they very emotional person or they're very calm and try to come up with a solution that is great lah kan? Are they very emotional or calm person when it comes to conflict? If that's happened, can you tell what your experience and that's all I guess.
Well, can I go? Yeah. Well, in general, I do think that they're a bit more expressive than Malaysian community in a sense where if they're really mad about this one person or there's just something that this person doesn't really like, even though it's a stranger kind of thing, in a bus, they can cause a really huge commotion. Like in that particular journey where in that public area, you can also find people just fighting. Yeah, like that's really rare from in the Malaysian perspective because they're very expressive. If they are not satisfied about a thing, they can just like simply call out to you, go, come here. They will have like some sort of quarrel over there at that point of time. But also at the same time, when you talk about handling conflicts with your friends, right, in terms of conversation, obviously we have different worldview, we have different interpretation about how we're seeing things. But everything boils down up to that individual. As for me, even if we have differences with our Turkish friends, like oftentimes there's many. Um, like there are certain things where we say, oh, this is how we do things, but also at the same time they're telling us, no, I don't think this is right, this is the right way for you to do things. So there are a lot of perspectives, but at the same time you just have to tailor it and to find a middle ground. So for me, cultural difference is inevitable and it's actually bound to happen when you're experiencing a cultural exchange. But that is what makes me grow in my case. Like for me personally, I do think that by having this experience, then only I can learn to outgrow my prejudices about other person. Like I might think, oh, why women in Turkey is very restrictive and very, in their own cocoon. Like, oh, why are they like looks so kind? They're not having as much as freedom as we are, as I could say, because we Malaysians oftentimes, especially in KL, I don't know about my friend. Yeah, I do see that we can go out and in without having a curfew, and we can still go roaming around city at 11, at 10, right? Even you as a part of a woman. But in Turkey, it's a rare occasion. At right after 7, so it's the evening time, you can actually count how many women, especially those people who are wearing tudong, to roaming around the street. So it's a very rare sight. But when I asked this to my friend, then he said that, um, there's differences in terms of like culturally upbringing, but also at the same time we agree that uh, what was our solution the other day when we have conversation with Ebrar? I couldn't remember, but there's something along the line where um, it's really more on how women in Turkish see things. Like I cannot impose on them to be more liberated or emancipated while not appreciating that their definition of freedom is in that way. It means that to have comfort, probably. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question. It's a bit off tangent.
Oh, yes. Thank you. It answered
Yes,
the question pretty well. So, Wana, do you have any question?
Sorry. Yes, I have a question regarding the culture differences. Uh, I want to ask if you have any experience where Turkey people like overgeneralizing you as Malaysian, like they must be have assumption about Malaysians when you go to the market or something, they will be like, oh Malaysia, yang orangnya baik or maybe they will judge, they not judge, may have assumption about our appearance or our behavior. So if so mesti ada macam bad assumption and good assumption, and I want to ask, how do you react to their assumption or overgeneralizing?
Okay, I'll answer this one first. Two things cross my mind, like two stereotypes cross my mind. First, okay, I'm not sure whether this is valid. You know, like if I were to tell you this, because it comes from a friend, I'm not sure whether his opinion, like like representing like all Turkish, but he was surprised when he knows that our currency is actually higher than them. So they're like, oh, so Malaysia is rich. And I was like, huh? So you think Malaysia is poor? Like, and then he was like, well, no, but I guess, because like we never heard of Malaysia. And that's why, like he was trying to like, I guess, like sugarcoat the statement because I feel like, what do you mean by Malaysia is rich? Like somehow like the way you word that question, have you been thinking that I've been like a poor, like coming from a poor third
Third
world,
world country.
third world country, like all jungle, like hey, we have KLCC, what? Right. So yeah, that was funny. But I mean, all good. But like, yeah, I feel like that really like stick to my mind just because, like I said, the way he worded that question was like, was he thinking that like Malaysia is like some third world country that where we still use the apa uh yeah, the bull cart for transportations and all. That was funny. And secondly, this happened to like I think like our European friend juga in our circle. I don't know if Asma remembers, but he said something like, Malaysian people like to take picture of everything. At that time, my friend was actually selfieing with her friends. I was like, I can't even defend ourselves like that. Like exhibit A, yep. They're like selfieing, like they're taking like pictures of the scenery, them with the view of the view of the place. They're taking picture of almost everything. So I guess, yep, that stereotype is kind of true. I guess. So yeah, I guess like that's like the two things. Like if you were to say it's a bad stereotype or a good stereotype, I would say again, maybe like how Asma has approached the question, right? It really depends on the person. Like if you find it offensive, then it is offensive to you. But for me, when like take it on my first example, when the guy asked about the currency, more so of being offended by his question, I was actually genuinely surprised of his train of thoughts. Like, so have you been thinking like I've been coming from like a country out of nowhere, like like so maybe in a sense Malaysia is really not that popular as we thought among other countries, yeah, people of other countries. So yeah, it's just like just surprise lah. If I were to classify it on the bad stereotype or the good stereotype, I would say neither. It's just a neutral thing, like a curiosity kind of thing, I guess. But for the taking pictures of everything, I would say that's kind of like a bad stereotype lah. Especially, come on, I know like my friend ada je yang tahu main social media, so they don't really be taking pictures of anything or everything. So, uh, yeah, that's the bad stereotypes on them, particularly. Kesian orang. Yeah, that's all from me.
How about Asma?
Personally, for me, I've never experienced like because I've never experienced, but it's close to zero when it comes to stereotypes. Probably because I might have been missing the signal that they are stereotyping Malaysians in general. But I didn't take offense. Like I'm not getting offended by any stereotypes. Probably it's just like differences. Yeah, it's bound to happen because we all have biases, right? So
True.
that's not much of a big issue for me personally.
Yeah, agreed.
So any other questions? Okay, Shafiq.
So I think my question would be like, during your guys' during your time there in Istanbul, other than language barrier, what else do you think that that particular problem that you're facing need to be required to be solved immediately? Like, contoh kalau I makan pakai chopstick, I tak boleh tahu I kena cari sudu dengan garpu ataupun cari tempat bersih tangan untuk I makan dengan tangan. Itu I lah. So do you have that thing yang you face that problem and then you required to immediately solve that because of how you generally do that thing in Istanbul? I mean, yeah. Do you have that thing?
Because your example is on food experience, so I do think that I can answer this on behalf of Ida in terms of like how Malaysians really love to have sauces. so much
Yeah.
trust is on. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I'm passing the baton to you.
Yeah, I mean, this is a particularly hard question for Asma because her palette of food is not Asian. So I much more relate to that. Um, yeah, I really like the food was, I would say, quite a shock for me as well. Like, I didn't realize that it was such a new thing for me. But then when I look at my weight at that time, I really lost a lot of weight because the food particularly that wasn't something that I was comfortable with, or like it was just not my comfort food at all. Yeah, like you know how uh people say like Turkey, oh, you eat a lot of kebab lah. Like, you know that is one stereotype anyway. But when I go to Turkey, there isn't such a thing called kebab. Like everybody is doner. Doner, yeah. Doner is actually kind of like kebab. But mind you, because it was Turkey, right? Like people of their like native, yeah, people of their natives. So the way that the doner is being prepared is also different, which is without no sauce. And like no sauce and no seasoning at all. You know, like how we Malaysian, if we cook, we don't just simply put salt and pepper. We use cumin powder lah, chili flakes lah, parsley lah, everything on your like spices rack kalau boleh you nak masukkan in that one dish, right? But in Turkey, and I guess this is how they like liken themselves to European side like more. They have like quite a simple palate at times. There are lokantase, right, as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
there are lokantase, which is kind of like restaurant. I would say restaurant nasi campur dekat Malaysia. But even that, the variety of side dishes is actually for me is more westernized. I would say like they would have like
They would
meat.
have soup as appetizer, then they will have like
Yeah.
meat. They would have like a small portion of rice, like very small, like
Yeah,
this
very
size.
small, like you tahu yang you pinggan yang ambil kuih tu, that size of small, yeah. But like yeah, I mean, like imagine like even if that like size of a plate, right? Fine, you can just put like a big portion of rice, right? But that would be ridiculous because how else are you gonna like eat it? So it's gonna be matching the size of the plate lah. So see, like they're just like very simple people in terms of food. So I guess when it comes to, I'm sorry, what was your question again, Shafiq?
My question was, do you guys have any particular problem or any particular what
Yeah.
we call that? Yeah.
Conflict or struggle, right? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
particular problem, right? So when it comes to problem, I would say if we didn't cook in our house, if we didn't actually have a place where we can cook for ourselves, then it would actually be a problem just to survive on their local food. Because I would say, like the homemade dishes, like the homely dishes too, macam it's quite different lah from ours. Like you can survive, but for like 6 months, that would be like time where you like, yeah, lemak, cendol, laksa, yeah, all that playing in your
You
head.
gotta feel homesick though.
Very much, like very much so. Mie kari, nasi Arab. See, the list is ongoing. Exactly what I meant to eat back. Yeah. So yeah, food. Alah, Malaysians semua boleh relate lah when they go to abroad.
Well, how about the price though?
I think Asma
price.
can answer this. The
The
prices.
price for
Price difference,
one
I
plate?
guess.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
difference. I mean like kalau lah kita makan makanan yang macam tu kan. So we tend to compare it to Malaysia. So macam mana kita bayar makanan dekat Malaysia, and then macam mana kita bayar makanan dekat Turkey, right? So kalau contohnya, kalau if lah I go to Turkey, and then from what you guys have been telling me right now, and I'll be upset because if the price is high, and then I'm absolutely upset because, well, I need more flavor.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a caveat here because obviously now Turkish in a very bad inflation state. Like their money is falling really bad. Their economy isn't doing well. The economy is, I'm not quite sure about money changes, but I do think that they're hit rock bottom for now. So the price differences obviously is very large because of the economic factor, but also at the same time when you compare food like rice bowl with our nasi campur, obviously it's very huge in a sense that they like nasi campur for them is not really a staple. What the staple thing for them is more bread. So bread is very cheap there. Bread is you can get it ekmek. Ekmek is bread. Ekmek you can get for like one huge baguette for 20 pence, 20 pence, or not 20 pence. What do you call that? 20 kurush. Kurush means
Kurush, yeah.
cents. Yeah, 20 cents you can get like one baguette. And if you want to have like a high quality bread, which means like wholemeal or some like fancy bread, it can also go to like 50, like up to 50 kurush. It's really cheap. For baguette in Malaysia, it's like seven ringgit and 8 ringgit.
Some restaurant even serve it for free, right? Asma, complimentary.
Yeah, complimentary. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there, I think because of their food in terms of like how they approach here, it's not really their staple food, then it will be higher and completely probably different in terms of price if you want to compare directly to Malaysia. Because for Malaysia, nasi is very like a ruji thing for us, like a staple. So it's cheap.
Oh, I see. So basically, nasi bukanlah the main dish di sana lah. So it's more
it's
like
a luxury kind of thing. Yeah, you only eat it on certain occasions. Like if you have like you celebrating something, Idul or something, like they're putting rice in all the celebratory food. I don't remember the ajwa. No. What was the bubur and they cook that they will always give at the street, and they put rice in it, and also like nuts. Oh, nuts is cheaper there. Nuts are so cheap. Dairy is also cheap because they eat cheese. They eat cheese and they drink
all
milk.
dairy things are very cheap. Milk, semua. So, but if I were to answer Shafiq's question, approaching from groceries, punya point of view, well, if you were to spend 50, Asma, what is dollar there? We don't call it dollar kan?
Lira.
Oh god. Yeah, 50 tele, Turkish lira. 50 tele there compared to here. I would say 50 tele there in a grocery mart can get you a lot more items than here in Malaysia, definitely. Because like Asma said, milk is cheap, cheese is cheaper, and even like some like meat, because they actually a huge consumption of meat. Meat is also like very accessible in the market. They have like also like instant food, but of course lah, like I said, customized to their like own palate, so it might not be like as flavorful as we have accustomed to Malaysia. But yeah, basically I love going to their mart. I love to do grocery shopping more than like going out to restaurant, because I feel like the groceries are a lot more cheaper, and so like a lot of varieties. So it's a more enjoyable experience rather than in Malaysia where you're like like stressing yourself like 50 ringgit beli apa je, tahu-tahu je tiga or like 2 items pun dah habis kan, 50 ringgit for groceries. Yeah, in Turkey is a lot more affordable, I would say, for us Malaysian.
Follow-up question. If you guys went to a restaurant in Turkey, what is your macam go to lah? Ni memang macam wajib kena rasa, ataupun macam often lah kalau you guys pergi restoran tu kena makan yang tu. Mind sharing that with us?
Asma?
For me, it's the soup, the mercimek. Yeah, I just love the soup. Everywhere I go, I'll just ask for like one mercimek with bread. Mercimek is like dal, but it's a different kind of dal. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, like, not really like, because I guess I was looking back, I was really like struggling with the food, I guess. So, in Turkey, then I like explore, like I kind of like push myself to be more of an adventurous eater. So, before I become an adventurous eater, I try to like eat everything with their beverage. Uh, either chai, yeah, either chai or ayran. Ayran is a sort of like a yogurt drink, which you can, yeah, like, is it a yogurt drink as well? But like, not really. Like, is there a
It,
specialty, right?
it's a salty yogurt drink.
Yeah, salty yogurt drink like where you can only find in Turkey, and it's actually got like if you pair anything with ayran, like even a simple dish like a donut, like a kebab, right? You would immediately feel full afterwards. That's just how fulfilling ayran is. And yeah, I guess I had a like that's something like I try to like try every time I go to a restaurant. I would like pair the dish with like either ayran or chai always.
Okay. I don't know. I have this mixed feeling about that rice because I think that they have been missing out a lot of things. So I think I have my question clarified. Maybe you guys, other than me, want to ask any question?
Yeah, I think I do. I have a question.
Okay.
In the previous statement, you guys said that the Turkish people, they are quite expressive, right? And that they could get you into a quarrel. You guys did say that, right?
Yeah,
So
all the time, all the time.
all the time. So do you
No,
have
not really,
any
not really.
Fight all the time on the street, in the bus, like people punching.
Yeah.
share with us the
Because
best story?
okay, but first I'm sorry, but I am involved in that fight. But no one punches me. But God, like it was in the bus. So uh, basically like I was with a friend. She's Romanian, so naturally we would speak English, right? So we would speak English in the bus. We were just conversing, and then suddenly we saw in front of us, there's this like one tall guy, like looks like a foreign. I mean, he looks foreign. And then he was actually figuring out the map in the bus. So I was like, and like overheard that conversation because they also speak in English. This German guy and Indonesian guy, they were speaking in English, so they were actually like trying to figure out the route. So I was like, excuse me, like, can I help you? I think I overheard like you were looking for a place, and then he was like, oh, great, you can speak English. Oh yes, I'm actually looking for this for the way to this place. And yeah, we were conversing, and then like from there, like, oh, you know, like naturally, oh, like what are you doing here? We're students. Oh, you're actually like just coming here for a research kind of thing, just a chat. But I guess it was at night. uh yeah, it was like about like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. ish, in a bus. And people in bus Turkish in public transportations are usually very quiet. They really mind their own business. Uh, they mind their own business. Like from my position, they mind their own business to the point that they are really like them to themselves. They don't even look at their phone. It's either they're reading their book or they're just like mindlessly staring on the floor or outside to the window. They don't even look at their phone. Yeah, they're that kind of like quiet people in public transportation. So I realized a bit too late that our voices were gradually getting louder. I think that's how it is with English speakers. We try to like like I don't know, outdo each other in like like how loud our voices are when speaking English. So there was suddenly this one old man screaming at us in Turkish, like like before he went out to the door. Like I already noticed, like I felt like a bit conscious like of this old man staring at our group, but I feel like at that time it was something normal. Like we are yabancı foreigners in Turkey, we get stared a lot of times, so like that was something normal, nothing new. But then when he started screaming, yelling at us, in Turkish, with his hand, blah, 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 I was like, oh God, like, oh, what is the situation? And my Romanian friend, she's actually a bit timid. And these two guys are obviously like hopeless. They don't know Turkish. The only thing I know in sorry, which is actually like excuse me, in Turkish is pardon. I just kept on saying that word repetitively, like, pardon. Like, pardon is like, I'm not sure. It's like, very sorry or very excuse me. I don't know at that point. But like, he continued yelling until the next stop, and then he went out, and then we were like, oh. At that time, I think everyone knew that my Turkish was actually very poor lah. Like the whole bus know. Because my only response to him was like, chop pardon. So yeah, like that's when I know that we really like it's just like another foreign country, where they're like very proud of their language again, and some just couldn't tolerate foreigners, unfortunately, that they're kind of like that kind of like racism happens still, and so they like get really triggered when they heard people speaking other language enjoyably, I guess, in their own land. But and yeah, and that's how I realized as well. Like we have to be mindful of this culture, like had we have been more thoughtful, like seeing like the bus like situation is like very quiet, we should have like lowered our voice and try to like communicate in a more mindful manner. But yeah, we didn't. So I guess we paid the price. It was a very shocking. We were just like baffled because no one helped us. Everyone was just staring. And this uncle, this pakcik, yeah, more like he's like a grandpa age, like yelling something. Even I don't know what he was talking about until at this time of the day. So yeah, that really like stuck in my mind. It's a good experience, I would say.
Yeah, so I have the next question for you guys. Do you have any encounter where you and your Turkish friend are observing the same thing during a conversation, but both of you have different interpretation about the whole situation? If you have, what kind of situation it is? Like for example, take it for like Arab men, they are usually comfortable expressing affection, especially like physical affection. Like they would hug themselves. Um, they would kiss their cheeks, each other's cheeks. But for Malaysians, we don't. Malay men don't usually do that. So have you ever had any encounter with that? And what are your and your Turkish friends' reaction to it?
Can I go? Yeah. Um, I have a very short answer because I am a person exiled from my root, in a sense that I'm detached. Even my worldview is different, so I couldn't really say that. My culture says that. Oh, this is wrong. This is something different. So there's not much of clashes. Yeah, but um, I'm thinking that if reacting to a certain situation, like if you observe public affection, like affections in public, mm, we don't necessarily have different thoughts to it, but also taken into consideration the same question that you pose to a different observation, like probably observing. Oh, I guess our conversation is always rooted. We don't really observe people or we don't really observe things because we're too immersed in the conversation. Like when you're talking with other people of different culture, right? Different from you oftentimes not look at the surrounding because you're just too immersed in that conversation. You're too intrigued by his or her presence alone. But I beg to differ. I can actually pass this to Ida.
Always passing the hard question to me, eh? But I'm so sorry. Can you like rephrase your question once again, Lam? You are on mute. Yeah, you have to unmute yourself. It's okay.
Yeah,
It happens every time.
basically, if you and your Turkish friends are hanging out or something like that, and you uh, like encounter something unusual from your perspective, but at the same time, for your Turkish friends, it's something normal for them. So, how do you actually like what, react to it, or uh, may you kind of like uh, tell that experience to us?
Okay. It's actually quite a hard question for me as well because I get confused like my experience. I feel like I hang out a lot more with my European friends rather than Turkish friends. But I do have Turkish friends, yeah. But it's just that, like I said, like Asma said earlier, like she worded it perfectly. I guess we were just too immersed in our conversation, and most of our Turkish friends are actually very respectful. They don't really make fun of us. I was like, if you were, I don't remember exactly that like the example or the specific situation, but I remember if we were converse something that we had like differences in, we would just be like, no, she would be like, oh really, you do that? And I was like, oh yes, yeah, we do it this way. Like, how do you do it? Oh, we would just be like, like we would just the conversation would be very civilized and polite. There is no like such thing as like, so you did that, oh my god, like you guys are like, this kind of thing. But again, that really depends on the person, I guess. I would have to take pride in this. I choose a good friend.
Yes, same, same. I'm
Right.
so lucky having to encounter with such good bunch of people.
Yeah, we have respectful friends who are actually tolerant of our differences as foreigners, and who are actually just very happy to let us know, like the culture that they have, and just teach us more of it now that we are in their land. And just one thing that I noticed, we have a mutual friend, Ebrar. So whenever I hang out with Ebrar and her friends, they're just so welcoming in a sense that like you're from another country, like you must have been like very lonely here alone. Not actually alone, actually we come with like other 17 friends, from Malaysia. So we're not particularly alone, but the way they would treat us, like, oh, you're so precious, like you come to our country, like surviving all the distance and journey, like let us take care of you. And how they take care of us would be like just treating us chai and food, and they wouldn't let us pay, that kind of thing. So again, I would say that really depends on the friends that we hang out with, which Asma, we made a good choice, right? Yeah. Hope that answers your question, Mom.
Yeah, thank you so much. That
All
really
right.
answered the question. So, any of you guys have any other questions?
I have.
Okay.
Okay. This for the okay, like our Malaysian have our own body language, means maybe differ from the Turkish. So have you ever any experience that you encountered about you misinterpret their body language, or maybe you think oh, what does it mean? Have you any experience about that? And you have any macam problem memahami diorang punya body language?
Yeah, not necessarily. As someone who's often get into that situation where you always disagree, so I oftentimes get these remarks, something like, I don't, how do they do that, like something like,
Yeah, something like,
yeah, you're
yeah.
wrong. So sometimes at the very first, like the first time I encountered it, I was like, what is this person trying to say? Like something like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you interjecting me with? So I need words, but also at the same time, as I being accustomed to that, to their body language, to their gestures, it's fun that we're adapting it. Like there's some common words that they always use, like um yeah, right? Like something they love to use hands. So bodily gestures in that sense is, they're very expressive also. They're liking, they will be using every each of their limbs, their heads, their hands, just to express or convey what are they trying or intended to say. Yeah. But it takes time for you to understand. Obviously, it doesn't take one day for Rome to actually to be built. So it's the same thing to for us as well. Ida,
Okay.
Ida.
Oh, okay. But yeah, like the memorable thing on body language is definitely the it was funny story to me because I was hanging out with this friend. it was a long time. We hang out from like afternoon to like night, so we were just talking and talking. But there was there was like kind of like some like while we were talking, there was like quite some time that he did those gestures, like something like that. So I was like, is that just a habit kind of thing? Like facial glitch ke apa. Like, I don't want to ask, like I don't want to be rude. But then we were at this tramway, and then we were like, I was asking him, oh, so should we go this way or that way? And I was like staring at him like, and I was like, wait, does that means no? And I was like, what means no? The one that you were doing, like, does that means no? Yeah, were you doing that every time that you said like no to me earlier? And I was like, yeah. Don't you know this? Like, and then I was like, huh, wait, that was a part of the conversation. I really thought that was something that, you were scratching your itch ke apa. Like, I didn't know that was something that, that is possible to incorporate in our conversation. So I remember, I think I was like spending just 5 minutes like looking at it. It's like, oh, that is interesting. I never know you can use that kind of like facial expression to say no to someone. And like while I was staring at him, like, with wonder, he was staring at me like weirdly, like this girl just know about this. So like all the time that I said no to her, like she didn't get it. Yeah, that is definitely a conflict. But we sorted out. Yeah.
Okay, so Ellie, do you have any other questions?
My question is regarding the conflict of interest. It is where you have a conflict that is clash between one person's self-interest and their professional interest. For example, you are suggesting something in a B way because you think that is the better way, but the other person think that the B way is not better because it clash with their self-interest without taking into consideration about your suggestion about B way. How do you like? Did you ever experience this? Is have like story about it and tell us your solution about it. I hope you can understand my question.
Um, conflict of interest in general. Wait, this sounds a bit more like professional classes, like, because we went there to experience things that are pretty casual, not something on our professional card, isn't like, oh, probably it might occur later, but during the exchange, there wasn't really a very huge interest regarding our professions and for personal interest in general. So I might want to clarify further on that question, particularly if Naidi can actually help me to understand the what you intended. Why you intend from
It's
that
something
question?
like when you discuss about something, and
Mhm.
then you already have a solution, right? And then but you feel like it could be done the other way, but the person doesn't agree with you because what they think that way is just not going with their self-interest. Yan, I checked out.
With the way that
For
they
example,
understand,
yes,
maybe like self-interest in a way that they understand, or like their principles. Is it?
something like that, or can be like religion stuff.
So it's not necessarily like professional conflict of interest
No, it
that
can be
involves
anything. Like
okay.
something clash with their belief or value.
I don't have any at this moment.
Asma, you
Probably I
sure do. Okay, you think first. Let me answer.
okay.
No, but like from my experience, right? So I lost a card. I lost a student card, and then this guy helped me. He's a Turkish guy. I'm not sure like if this really like fits your value kind of question, but I think I would associate this to him being stubborn in a way that he thinks he knows better because it's his country, you know, like yeah, like it's his country. So he would have known better. He would have been like uh he would have been like the expert here, I guess. So the way we do things, as I know, because I've did my student card before, that if there were like there was this one procedure, like you know, if it got lost, then we can just go here and do it that way. But he apparently like he was like, no, 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 you can't do it this way, you know, like you have to listen to me because I'm the native here. And I'm like, no, but this is what I've been told, like you know, I've been taught by the staff at the counter himself. But then he was just like very very like persistent. And I guess because I mean he offered to help already, right? So I was like, okay lah, never mind, like you just help me this way. Turns out the way that he insisted is wrong. We had to go back to the office the next day together. I was holding my tongue, you know, like I told you so, particularly because I mean he offered to help anyway, and while he did help me, but if he wasn't like so persistent in the things that you know he thought is right, you know, if he is a little bit more open to me, a bit more accommodating to me, uh, to listen to my solution or my opinion rather than just setting it aside in the name of, hey, I'm the, you know, like I'm the like native here, I should have known better, she's just a foreigner, what she knows. Then I think like it could have been sorted out more faster and more efficiently lah. But yeah, I think Asma has something to say now.
Um, yeah. If conflict of interest means that handling with government or handling with officials means that I've encountered few, as in like I've lost my passport apparently, and I obviously you have to lodge a report because you lost your passport, right? At the foreign land somewhere. So I went to the police station, and the police station that I visited at that, yeah, right after I lost my passport, that night I went straight to the police office to lodge a complaint, but apparently they're not attending to me. So I do think that the interest here in terms of like the conflict is that obviously they're putting more weight to people of their own rather than people of some like foreign lady who's actually lost passport. Who are you? So it's okay. The conflict of interest are there. As in like they would attend and cater more to their people. So every cases that go to the police station for Turkish went first before me. Then as in like my case were not being attended at until the very end. So and then the policeman says that you can go back. It's okay. Come again tomorrow. Come again tomorrow. Then probably lodge a report. And I was so mad. I contacted my supervisor in school. So that person liaised me with another person, and apparently that you need Turkish people with you when you go to police station, because if you go alone, they see you as a foreigner, they don't put weight in your complaint, you just won't be attended forever. So the conflict there seems like, well, even though it comes with like you under the capacity of being foreigner, they don't, you pulling your card as foreigner, they won't entertain you at all. So if you're having like one Turkish people with you who can speak, especially who can speak in their language, then just within 5 seconds or within 5 minutes, they will take the case and then do what necessary. So I could see in at this point of time, like public officials, especially the Turkish public officials, they have conflict within their own. So, so it's kind of hard for me to say that whether that conflict is legitimate, that conflict is justified or not. Yeah. But make sure if you lost passport in a foreign land, go with someone who can communicate, or else they won't just entertain.
Thank you for answering my question. It really helps.
Okay, so
Anyone?
In my notes, right? I believe I have about 5 of those conflicts and solutions. But just as a cherry on top, have you guys ever been in a situation where you guys accidentally offend the Turkish people? Is there any situation like that?
Offend, accidentally offend. I think come back to my answers. Coming back to my answers earlier, I think I said to them like, also like you're Asian, right? You like you can be considered as Asian, right? And then like the face of the Turkish guy like changed. No, we're not Asian. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't. Yeah. So I guess my question was a bit offensive to him, and that's how I know that they themselves have like a conflict of nationality. Like all in all, I think like it would be better just to address them as like Turkish rather than to like want to label them as like Asian ke European ke, yeah, just Turkish.
Mine would be language. Please use language really wisely. If you don't know something, that just if you're not sure about that particular word, then just don't say, because I use some word with like a very weird accent, then suddenly they mock me. And when they mock me, obviously I like, oh yeah. So I did something like I actually uttered something, and that might offend them in a way, but that's really up to individual. But you're getting mocked back for it. So instead of me offending them, they're offending me. So yeah, mind your language.
That was such a funny story. Asma had this one situation where she was being mocked by orang pasar. Like she was just saying thank you, but you guys have heard an accent, right? It's very unique, right? So she was saying Turkish in that unique accent as well. She was supposed to say çok teşekkürler, right? But then she was saying in her extravagant manner, çok teşekkürler. Orang pasar to literally like call it back to her, like when we walk away. We were like laughing among them, and we were like, "Oh my god, Asma is being mocked by her accent." But yeah, that's like disrespectful, like especially I think because like we're foreigners, so like they think they can just get away with it. But yeah, more so of Asma offending them, I think that they're offending Asma. So not really answering your question, I think.
it's okay. So anything more to add?
So, do you guys have any question?
I don't think we have any more questions.
Right?
No, I don't have.
To just conclude this whole interview session, I would say that those conflicts are language barriers. The Turks are quite firm in sense of time management, especially in a special gathering, and then they are quite expressive. That might get you in a quarrel, and the food, you guys are not fan of the food. So in ways, I'm sorry. So one way to solve that problem, you guys cooks in your own hostel, right? Okay. And you also found that nasi campur restaurant, although it is some kind of westernized, right? And also the Bondi language is quite confusing. That actually means no. So you always also
You master the
I'm sorry.
kitchen.
Can you do that again? That seems on point.
what?
Can you do that again? That seems on point.
Okay.
Great job, Moose.
So your way to solve that is by asking one of your friends. So it's quite easy to adapt to that problem, right? And also, one of the conflict is that the Turkish people, they don't take the foreigner seriously. So one way to solve that problem is that you must take a native Turkish with you to in a business manner, right? For example, when
Yeah, if it's like a professional setting,
yes, in
or if it's not a professional setting, like a public lodgement or public complaints.
okay, okay, yeah, I believe we got everything. Thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you so much. This is so helpful. By the way, Shafiq is not here because he has a internet connection problem. So yeah,
Okay.
It's fine. It happens all the time.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess
And
Alhamdulillah, thank you so much for all the questions. I think we had such a fun time answering it, right, Asma?
Yes.
Yeah, we're just like tracing down our memories, so it's fine.
Yeah, true. It has been
Mhm.
like 2 years, yeah, since we last
Years.
went to that exchange program, and I think that if you have uh any intention to like join this kind of program like us, right, just remember lah, to be respectful of other people, and and respectful of culture, not just in a sense that you learn their language, but also you learn their behavior, and also maybe like their religious practice, which might be contradicting to Islam, right? But that's all in a sense of respect. Yeah, if you don't have respect, then I think like that's all. Like we're not going to be having this much story to tell if we don't have respect for other people. Like yeah, we're like we would be an island, and no man is an island.
True, true. Just adding to Ida, I think the important part here, on top of you respect the other person's culture, you also need to make yourself open, quite viable for new cultures to come to you. Because if you're limiting yourself, if you're putting down or close that door towards cultural differences, cultural exchanges, then you can never experience the true meaning of exchanging on the very basic in sense as a human. Yeah.
yes, I do agree because all in all, when we at the end of the day, we have to respect to coexist,
Yeah,
right?
true.
So
Yeah, true.
yeah. And anything more to add? Maybe, Tawana? No.
But I guess that concludes our interview for today. Thank you so much for attending. We're really
Thank you
grateful for
for
you guys.
joining.
Thank you
Thank
so
you for taking
much.
Is this off record already?
Not yet. I
Oh,
will
okay.
do it now.
Okay.
Grabas, ma.